She looked straight at her friends, laughed, and said, "Leave if you want, you'll be back begging within a month." I didn't raise my voice. I just nodded once and said, "Start counting." My name is Marcus. I'm 34, and at the time this happened, I was living in Charlotte, North Carolina. My girlfriend, Vanessa, was 32. We'd been together a little over 3 years, living together for almost 2. If you met us at a cookout, you'd think we were fine. We smiled on cue. We had a decent apartment. We took pictures on weekends and posted them like proof. And for a long time, I told myself the little digs were just how she joked. Vanessa wasn't some movie villain. She wasn't screaming and throwing plates. She was sharp in a quieter way. She cared a lot about how things looked. She cared what her friends thought. She cared where we sat at restaurants and what people assumed about us. And when she felt insecure, she tried to climb higher by pushing me a little lower. I tolerated it for 2 reasons. One, I loved her. I really did. She could be warm when it was just us. She'd rub my shoulders while I cooked. She'd send me funny videos at lunch. She'd cry at sad movies and reach for my hand like she needed me there. 2, I'd grown up in a house where you did make a scene. My dad was a calm man. He believed you handled things with paperwork, planning, and a steady voice. So whenever Vanessa made a comment that stung, I'd swallow it and tell myself I was being mature. The first red flag seems small now, which is how it always starts. We were at a little neighborhood bar with 2 of her friends, Paige and Melissa. They were both in marketing, both loud in that polished way like they'd practiced being fun. Paige asked what I did for work. Before I could answer, Vanessa smiled and said, "Marcus does spreadsheets. He's basically allergic to excitement." Everyone laughed. I laughed too, because that's what you do when you're trying not to be the sensitive guy. I said, "I work in operations analytics, mostly supply chain." Paige tilted her head like she was trying to translate. Vanessa jumped back in. "He makes sure boxes get places. He likes it because numbers don't talk back." Again, laughter, and I remember thinking, that's funny if I'm a cartoon, not a person. Another time, a month later, we were getting ready for her company holiday party. She wanted it to be perfect. She laid out my shirt on the bed like I was a kid. I grabbed a navy tie I liked, and she took it out of my hand. "Not that one," she said. "That one makes you look like someone's middle manager dad." "I am literally a manager," I said, trying to keep it light. She looked at me in the mirror and said, "Yes, but we don't need to advertise it." It was the way she said "we," like my appearance was her reputation. I let it go. I wore the tie she chose. At the party, she introduced me to people as Marcus, my steady guy, and she'd squeeze my arm like I was a useful appliance. When I tried to speak, she'd cut in and answer questions for me. When one of her coworkers asked if we were thinking about buying a house, Vanessa laughed and said, "If Marcus had his way, he'd live in an Excel sheet." That line got another round of laughs. I smiled. My stomach felt hollow. The third scene happened at home, which somehow hurt more because there was no audience. I had just gotten promoted at my job. It wasn't a huge raise, but it meant something to me because I'd worked hard. I came home with a little cake from the grocery store. Nothing fancy, just something to mark the moment. Vanessa glanced at the cake box and said, "What's this for?" "I got the promotion," I said. "Lead analyst, it's official." She opened the fridge, staring at the shelves like the news didn't land. "Okay, that's good." "Yeah," I said, waiting for more. She shut the fridge and finally looked at me. "Does it come with better hours? Because I'm not dating someone who's married to a laptop forever." I just stood there holding the cake box. I remember setting it down slowly, like if I moved too fast I'd break something. I told myself she was stressed. I told myself I didn't need applause. I told myself love wasn't about keeping score. But deep down, I started keeping score anyway, not to punish her, to understand myself, to answer the question I didn't want to ask: am I shrinking to fit this relationship? Then the dream job happened, and it happened in the most Marcus way possible. A LinkedIn message, a couple interviews, a spreadsheet comparing cost of living, benefits, and career growth. I work in operations, warehouse systems, forecasting, process improvement. I'm not flashy, but I'm good, quietly good. A recruiter from a logistics tech company in Austin reached out. At first I ignored it. Then I read the role description and felt something spark. It was exactly what I'd been building toward: senior operations analyst with a path to director, bigger projects, and a team that actually used data to make decisions. After 2 interviews and a final panel, they offered me the job: Austin, Texas, relocation assistance, better benefits, a real budget for tools, and a salary that made me sit down. I was making $58,000 in Charlotte. The offer was $122,000 in Austin, plus a signing bonus and a relocation package. I printed the offer letter because I'm old school like that. I came home, set it on the table, and said, "I got an offer, it's Austin." Vanessa picked up the paper and skimmed it. Her eyes paused at the number. I saw it, just a flicker, like a calculator turning on behind her face. "Austin," she said, "that's far." "It's a great role," I said, "and it's a big jump." She set the letter down and crossed her arms. "So you're just going to leave? You're going to drag me to Texas because you want to play big shot?" That word drag hit me. I said, "I'm not dragging you. I'm telling you what's happening in my career. We can talk about options." She snorted, "Options? Here's an option, don't take it. We have a life here. My friends are here, my job is here." I kept my voice even. "It's not just money, it's growth. It's the kind of role I've wanted." Vanessa leaned back against the counter like she was judging a contestant. "Marcus, be real. You're not a Texas guy. You'll last a month. You'll hate the heat. You'll miss your routine. And then you'll come crawling back." There it was, the first time she said it plainly. "You'll come crawling back." I didn't fight. I said, "Let's not do this right now. I want to think." But the truth was, I was thinking already. I was thinking about all the times she turned me into a punchline. I was thinking about how she talked like my goals were a nuisance. I was thinking about the way I'd started asking permission to exist. A week later, she invited me to dinner with her friends, not a casual bite, a dinner, the kind with reservations and outfits. She said it like it was a peace offering. "Let's go out," she said. "Let's have fun. My friends want to see you." My gut told me it wasn't about seeing me. It was about showing me as the version of me she could control. But I went anyway, because I wanted to believe we could reset, because part of me still wanted to earn her respect like it was a prize. The restaurant was loud and expensive, all dark wood and little candles. We met Paige and Melissa, plus two more friends I'd only seen once, Tyler and Jenna. Everyone ordered cocktails. I got sparkling water because I had an early morning meeting. Vanessa made a face like I'd embarrassed her. When the food came, the conversation turned to careers like it always did with them. Titles, promotions, who's doing what. Jenna asked Vanessa if she'd ever move for someone. Vanessa didn't even hesitate. "No," she said, laughing. "I'm not uprooting my life because my boyfriend wants to go cosplay as important." I felt the table go quiet for a second. Then Paige laughed too loud, like she was covering the awkwardness. I looked at Vanessa. She was smiling, eyes bright, enjoying the attention. She wasn't thinking about me, she was performing. I said calmly, "The job is real. It's a good opportunity." Vanessa took a sip of her drink and said, "Oh, I'm sure it's real. I'm just saying Marcus gets these ideas and then he burns out. He needs someone to keep him grounded." Tyler grinned, "So you're his anchor." Vanessa nodded like it was cute. "Exactly." That word hit me too. Anchor, not partner, not teammate. Anchor, something heavy you drop to keep a boat from moving. I set my fork down. "Vanessa," I said softly, "can we not do this here?" She tilted her head, fake innocent. "Do what?" "Talk about me like I'm not here," I said. Her smile sharpened. "Oh my God, Marcus, relax, we're joking." Jenna leaned in, maybe trying to be helpful. "Is the Austin thing serious?" Vanessa laughed and waved her hand like she was dismissing a fly. "He thinks it's serious." Then she turned to the table and said the line that ended us. "Leave if you want," she said, loud enough for the nearby tables to hear. "You'll be back begging within a month." There was a second of silence, like the room held its breath. I saw Paige's eyes widen. I saw Tyler glance down at his plate. Jenna looked uncomfortable, like she wished she could disappear. Vanessa was still smiling. And I felt something in me go still, not angry, not hot, just settled, like a door clicking shut. I nodded once, looked right at her and said, "Start counting." I stood up. I didn't slam anything. I didn't throw a napkin. I just stood, put my wallet on the table and said, "Dinner S on me. You all have a good night." Vanessa blinked like she didn't understand the script had changed. "Marcus," she said, a warning in her voice. I didn't argue. I didn't explain. I walked out. Outside, the air was cool. My hands were steady, but my chest felt tight. I got in my car, sat there for a minute, and stared at the steering wheel. I could still hear her laugh in my head. I could still see the way her friends looked at me, like I was supposed to take it. I drove to a hotel off the highway. Nothing fancy. Clean. Quiet. I checked in, went to the room, and sat on the edge of the bed like a man who just stepped out of his own life. Then I opened my laptop. The offer letter was in my email. I read it again slowly, like I was verifying it wasn't a dream. I thought about my dad's voice: keep it clean, keep it legal, keep it calm. I signed the acceptance electronically and sent it back. The adrenaline didn't feel like rage. It felt like relief, like I'd been holding my breath for years and finally exhaled. Vanessa called me 12 times that night. I didn't pick up. She texted, "Where are you?" Then, "Stop being dramatic." Then, "Answer me." At 1:07 a.m. she sent, "You embarrassed me." That one made me laugh quietly, alone in the hotel room, not because it was funny, because it was the truth of who she was. In her mind, the problem wasn't what she said. The problem was that I refused to swallow it. In the morning, I went back to the apartment while she was at work, not to sneak, not to steal. My name was on the lease too. I had every right to be there. I did it like a project. I made a list in my phone: essentials, documents, work gear, sentimental items. I packed my clothes, my laptop dock, my passport, my birth certificate, my grandmother's watch, and the framed photo of my mom. I left the couch, the TV, the kitchen stuff we'd bought together. I wasn't trying to win furniture. I was trying to exit clean. Before I left, I opened the property management portal on our shared tablet that lived on the kitchen counter. We used it for bills and streaming. The rent ledger was right there, plain view, no passwords I didn't already have. I took a picture of the ledger page showing my payments for the last year and the security deposit details, not to threaten her, to protect myself. Then I printed my move-out notice and put it in an envelope addressed to the property office. The lease required written notice. I gave it. I also emailed the property manager from my own email, not hers, stating I'd be vacating and asking for next steps on removing myself when the term ended, clean and documented. I left a short note on the counter for Vanessa, not a letter, not a poem, just facts. I moved my personal items out today. I accepted the Austin role. I'm ending this relationship. Please communicate with me only by text about any logistics. I will not argue. I wish you well. That was it. Then I sent one text to her number before I blocked it. I'm safe, I'm done. I accepted Austin. Please keep communication to logistics only. I blocked her. I blocked her on social media too, not to punish her, to give myself silence. Silence was the thing I hadn't had in years. The next 2 weeks were a blur of grown-up tasks: background checks, benefit forms, relocation paperwork. I scheduled a brief consult with a landlord-tenant attorney just to make sure I handled the lease correctly. The lawyer didn't do anything dramatic. He simply confirmed what I already suspected: give proper notice, document everything, don't withhold shared property, and keep messages short. Exactly my style. Vanessa didn't keep messages short. She started texting from other numbers, unknown area codes, apps. She left voicemails from a blocked caller ID. At first it was angry, then it was pleading, then it was romantic, like she was trying to rewind time with words. You're really going to throw everything away over a joke? I'm sorry, okay, you know I get carried away. I miss you, I can't sleep. Then when that didn't work, she tried guilt. Her sister messaged me on Facebook: Vanessa is devastated. She can't eat. You're being cruel. A mutual friend from her circle, someone I barely knew, sent, you should talk to her. She's embarrassed and hurting. I replied once to the mutual friend because I wanted a clean record. I'm not discussing private relationship issues. Please don't relay messages. If there's a logistics issue, Vanessa can email me. Then I stopped responding. 2 days before my move, Vanessa emailed me from her work account with the subject line "Lace." Finally, logistics. I opened it. The email was mostly emotion, but buried in it was the only useful sentence. She wanted me to keep paying half the rent until she figured things out, even if I moved. I replied with 3 sentences. I have given proper notice to the property manager and I'm vacating. I will pay my share through the end of the notice period per the lease. After that, you will need to make arrangements with the property or a roommate. Please keep future emails focused on logistics. Then I attached the screenshot of the rent ledger from the shared tablet, showing my payments were current, not as a threat, as clarity. I never mentioned her friends, I never insulted her. I didn't need to, the facts did the work. Austin felt like stepping into a new version of my life. The relocation package covered a moving truck and a small stipend. I found a one-bedroom apartment near a trail, simple and clean. My first morning there, I woke up in a quiet room with no tension in the air, no waiting for someone's mood, no bracing for a comment. Work was different in a good way. On my first day, my manager shook my hand and said, "We're glad you're here. I read your case study twice. You're going to help us a lot." Nobody made me a punchline. Nobody called me stable like it was an insult. People asked questions and then actually listened to the answers. I built a routine fast: morning coffee on my balcony, walks on the trail after work, Saturday grocery runs. I joined a low-key community hiking group, mostly people in their 30s and 40s who just wanted sunshine and conversation. Nothing wild, just normal. When my first paycheck hit, I sat at my kitchen table and stared at the number in my bank app. The jump from $58K to $122K was rich, but it was breathing room. It was security. It was the ability to save aggressively, pay down debt, and plan without fear. The feeling wasn't pride like I'd won a contest. It was calm, like my life finally matched the effort I'd put into it. Back in Charlotte, Vanessa's world didn't collapse like a soap opera. It unraveled in realistic ways. Mutual friends stopped inviting her to things because she was going through it and making every gathering about her pain. Her roommate's options were limited, so she took on extra freelance work. The lease was still there, still due every month, and I wasn't there to buffer it. I heard small updates through one friend I still trusted, someone who knew both of us but didn't gossip. Apparently Vanessa told people I abandoned her, then she told people she let me go, then she told people we were taking space. The story changed based on who she was talking to, which told me everything. About 2 months into my new job, a package arrived at my apartment. No return address. Inside was a watch I'd given Vanessa on our second anniversary, the one she used to post pictures of on Instagram. There was also a handwritten note. "I'm sorry, I didn't realize what I had. Please call me." I didn't call, I emailed. "I received the package. Thank you for returning the item. I'm not interested in reconnecting. I wish you well." Then I archived the thread. A week later, she showed up. It was a Saturday afternoon. I'd just come back from a hike, sweaty and tired in a good way. I was walking up the stairs to my apartment when I saw her sitting on the landing like she'd been there a while. Vanessa looked smaller than I remembered, not physically exactly, just deflated. Her hair was pulled back, her makeup minimal. She wore plain jeans and a hoodie, no performance, no audience. For a second I felt that old reflex: care for her, fix it, smooth it over. Then I remembered the restaurant. I remembered the laugh. I remembered how my chest had tightened while she smiled. She stood when she saw me. "Marcus," she said, voice trembling, "please, just 5 minutes." I kept my keys in my hand. I didn't step closer. I didn't step away either. I just stayed steady. "You shouldn't be here," I said, not angry, just factual. "How did you get my address?" She looked down. "Paige," I begged her. I exhaled slowly. "Okay." Vanessa's eyes filled. "I messed up. I know I did. I was insecure. I was trying to look cool. I didn't mean it like that." "You did mean it," I said quietly. "Maybe you didn't mean the consequences, but you meant the words." She swallowed hard. I was joking. I looked at her for a long moment. Then I said, "A joke has both people laughing." She nodded, wiping her cheek. "I'm sorry. I've been miserable. I can't afford the apartment. I had to move in with my sister. My job is complicated now. People ask about you and I don't know what to say." There it was, the selfish motive slipped in between apologies, not purely about love, about discomfort, about reputation, about the life she wanted back. She stepped forward. "I flew here because I needed to see you. I needed to tell you I love you. Please, we can start over. I can move here. I'll do it. I'll support you." I felt that door inside me stay closed, not because I hated her, because I finally respected myself. "I'm not starting over," I said. "I'm not rebuilding trust with someone who used me as a prop." Vanessa shook her head, desperate. "I'll prove it. I'll do therapy. I'll change. Just don't leave me like this." My voice stayed gentle but firm. "Vanessa, the relationship ended the night you told me I'd come back begging." She flinched. I shifted my keys in my hand. and said the last line she needed to hear, the one that closed the loop without cruelty. "You told me I'd be back within a month," I said. "I'm not the one standing here." Her face crumpled. She covered her mouth, trying not to sob loud in the stairwell. I didn't take satisfaction in it. I didn't feel like a hero. I just felt finished. "I hope you get help," I said. "I hope you learn to be kind even when you're insecure, but you're not coming inside, and you're not coming back into my life." Then I unlocked my door, stepped in, and closed it. I sat on my couch, breathing in the quiet. My phone buzzed once, probably another message, another attempt. I didn't check it. I made tea. I looked out at the late afternoon sun on the trail behind my building, and for the first time in a long time, I felt safe in my own space. If you've ever had someone mistake your patience for weakness, I'd love to hear how you handled it. Drop your thoughts in the comments because I read them all.